moment, the restaurant where we normally tie the dinghy up to is closed. So we're now parked up the dinghies down here. Now you can see all the other dinghies are here already. I've had to climb up this old barge. That thing, up this platform to get to here. Much to the amusement and the audience of the people hanging around at the jetty, who I'm now going to show you. What is your name?
Siapa namanya?
Ujang.
Ujang? Okay. That's the guy who helped me get my dinghy over. Terima kasih. And just behind me here is the local police station with the officer fast asleep on his bench outside. Good advert for the police, eh? Only in Indonesia. Maybe Malaysia. Probably Thailand as well, thinking about it. Ice. It's just been explained to me that ice that you just saw is actually, it's a fish farm. And I just bumped into the others who are being taken around the fish farm right now. We might do that tomorrow. Sue and Ian were telling me about the proboscis monkeys who actually live in town. But again, we'll probably do that tomorrow. I've got a mission today. Thank you. Oh, wherever you are. I have to get to the telecom sales shop to sort out our internet because we seem to have used up our internet very quickly. Now, there's nothing unusual with that, but I can't remember if we talked about this in the vlog, but we certainly talked about it in the podcast. This problem in Indonesia of having to register your IMEI number. So it's not as simple as just buying a SIM card and topping it up. Little fishing village here and a beached fishing boat. Found a group of lads here playing what looks like dominoes but on cards, and they call it madong. It's called madong, but they're slamming these card dominoes as if they were real dominoes. I don't know how much you can hear me above the din of the traffic, but what is good fun is almost everyone is saying, hello, how are you, mister? Where are you going? Which is basically their way of saying, how's it going? How are you? You see, this is what I love about coming to a new town. I should really have this on. Coming to a new town, a new city, a new island. I wouldn't say absorbing yourself into the local people because you stand out like a sore thumb, especially when you're walking around with a camera in your hand, talking bollocks to yourself, basically. But always nice to get a good, positive reaction from the local people who are always more than friendly to stop, like this guy. You see what I mean? Oh, such lovely people. Love the Indonesians. Okay, I've managed to get a grab and I am with Cornelius, and you are not going to believe this, but Cornelius was Muslim and he has switched to Christianity. He's now a pastor and operating as a grab driver as a missionary. And all your family and friends, your family are all now Christian, yes?
Yes, but my mother Muslim radical.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Radical Muslim?
Yes, my mother.
Wow.
Right,
I'm now at customs, having been dropped off by Cornelius. A fascinating chat with the guy. So he was a pastor, as he explained, and he became a Christian 20 years ago. And I asked him why. And he said that 20 years ago, his brother got very ill. And using Google Translate, he said the witch doctor couldn't help. The Muslim mullah couldn't help. And eventually they got in a Christian doctor to come in and help. And basically over 2 nights of solid praying, his brother was cured. And that was the trigger point at which he converted from Islam to Christianity. And he was explaining also that his mother was, in fact, an extremist, a Muslim extremist, and she too converted to Christianity. Off the back of that, he is now building a school. He has 47 students there. He showed me a video clip of the little children. 6 of them, he said, are Muslim, and the rest are a mixture. What a interesting person to meet as your grab driver. And he did admit that he was doing his grab driving, I think, as I said to camera already, that he was using this as a way of becoming a missionary. So yeah, very interesting. So the reason why I was getting a grab was because I've now had to come to the other end of town and get to customs, and this is to sort out this registration of the phone's IMEI number so that I can then use a local SIM card. It's not easy, and even customs are scratching their head. I'm supposed to just show them a QR code for them to complete the registration process, but they're having to think about it. So I think there's a coffee shop over there. I'll go and grab something to drink, and then they said they'll take 10 minutes and I'll come back. Well, back to the dinghy, and so that was really just a 2-hour whistle-stop tour of Tarakan town. It was really just to sort out these SIM cards, but it's amazing how even in the space of 2 hours you can get just a little feel of what the local people like, and just get a sensation of the atmosphere in town. And of course, as we expected, very friendly, very helpful people. The last half an hour or so was spent in customs just filling out all these forms to register the IMEI number, and I was very keen to try and get back because it seems to be a pattern now. You can see over there where the sun is supposed to be setting, the clouds are starting to build, and I've just checked the weather radar, and sure enough there is another squall on its way at some point, probably in the not too distant future. So I just wanted to get in the dinghy and try and get back to the boat before this kicks in. However, there is a restaurant which is open, which is the point at which some of the other yachties are meeting up at. So I might just nip in there first, but keeping an eye on this, because when this picks up, it turns to hell. And it's not the kind of weather I want to be climbing back onto the boat and hoisting the dinghy in. So there we go. Oh, that was a dramatic end to the day. On the way back, when I last left you, I said I'd swing by the restaurant, and I did. But all the while, the clouds were building, and I don't think we really appreciated just how quickly they were building. And then suddenly, I think we all panicked. I think we all ended up doing a runner from the restaurant saying, "We'll pay you tomorrow." Nipped back, and I was surfing down waves, and by the time I got to Esper, she was being blown on her side. So trying to clip the dinghy in order to hoist it up was really difficult, and I just managed it in time, and the winds hit, and you might be able to hear in the background a little bit of rain, but yeah, this is obviously a daily occurrence, and we're getting wise to it.
We're in a mangrove right in the middle of Tarakan, which is dedicated to proboscis monkeys. We've already seen one as we came in. I think it was male because it had the long dangly nose. They're the males. The females have a little upturned nose. And this is closer than any of them that we saw, I think, in the Kalimantan, isn't it? Mm. So it's a park, but they're not held captive. Like, it's not like a zoo. They actually probably can go anywhere they like. But they have a pretty good life, so why would they leave?
So these mangroves are situated literally just by the waterfront where we berthed the dinghy, and behind us is the city. This is literally right in the middle of the city, or the town, and it doesn't take long though as you walk through the mangroves for the sounds of the city to disappear, and for the sounds of nature, which you can clearly hear over my right shoulder, kick in. But the most obvious thing is how much cooler it is. It's a nice respite from the heat of mid-afternoon sun. Let's see if we can see more monkeys.
The Tarakan's an island, and if you look on a map you'll see that there's a huge, massive estuary running down from Kalimantan all the way to the sea here, and the whole thing is mangroves. So there's island upon island upon estuary rivers, a massive amount of mangroves, more mangroves than we've ever seen anywhere, and we're so privileged to be here. The other thing I wanted to say is that the sounds that we're hearing now, the walking, is what we hear when we're on the boats. What Jamie's always talking about, that dripping, popping sound that you get in the mangroves, and we're here amongst it all now. It's really beautiful here. There's something very special about it, I think.
So we're finally here on a very special day. Now, whose birthday is it? It's someone's birthday, and I can't remember whose it is. Someone very important. We finally made it to this restaurant. Now, we came to this restaurant last night, and we managed 10 minutes before a great big squall came in, and we all scarpered without paying the bill. Today, on this very special day, we've now finally made it. There's no squall coming, so we can sit here and enjoy the sunset and the beautiful food here. Just met the owners, who opened 3 months before pandemic hit. So it's a relatively new restaurant, but they only ran for 3 months and then they had to close. So they're now open again. So here's a quick group shot of the reprobates I've been hanging out with.
It's Jamie's birthday today.
Come on, birthday boy.
We've hired a car for the day for the princely sum of 300,000 rupees. May sound like a lot, but it's about 15 quid. We're just driving around this little island, going up every road to see what we can see. And we've seen a lot of churches. We didn't realise there'd be quite so many churches. The mosques are obvious and they make a lot of noise several times a day, so we're very aware of those, but we didn't realise that there are lots of these.
It's quite a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, big one.
How are you?
Hey, Ilas, kita pakai di foto ke itu mulai.
How are you?
Yay!
So we have literally been following our nose, been looking at Google Maps, and we've attempted to take a couple of side roads. The problem is that because of this rain, a lot of these roads are pretty washed out, and you know, being a hire car, it's not a 4x4, so I think we could end up getting into trouble. So this is on the northwest corner of the island, and there's lots of roads running down. Hello. Lots of roads running down towards the sea. So this is where you've got lots of stilted fishing villages here. And we're looking for a coffee and maybe some nasi goreng.
Tidak rusak. Ini dari udang.
And the lady behind me here is drying out udang renginang. This is shrimp rice cracker, and this is a standard side dish that you'd have with your nasi goreng. Nasi goreng, by the way, is simply fried rice, and here in Southeast Asia it's especially smoky. Watch this reaction when I tell them, okay, I am from England.
I'm from Indonesia.
Yay!
Indonesia.
And they're all from Indonesia. Yay! And I support Liverpool.
Bestie.
They like their Spanish
Who are
teas
you?
here. Cheers, guys. Bye. Well, if there are three things that's ubiquitous in Indonesia, it is football, boat building and chainsaws. And quite often they'll combine those last two together. Boat building here can be quite rudimentary, but they still end up producing some beautiful looking skiffs. All along this main road are many, many little huts and buildings that I would say almost every other one has a coffee sign out of it. It's kind of a generic looking coffee sign. Now, most of these aren't specialty coffee shops. You tend to find that the coffees you get here is packet coffee, but it's quite a common sight. So we just thought we'd stop off and have a packet coffee, a couple of chocolate buns, and Liz has made a new friend. This could also be where we buy our tomatoes and eggs as well.
Yes, so what are they called?
Gathering your stuff then, Liz.
Gathering my stuff. I've got my dozen eggs, village eggs, and a kilo of village tomatoes at various ripenesses. And our friend here helped me.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This is Uphill Cafe. We thought we'd pop in for a lunchtime snack. Now, this is sort of back down at the south of the island. As you saw earlier, we had gone to the sort of very small fishing villages right in the north. But as we came back, we took a little detour and we actually came through what we think is probably the main Tarakan town centre. So the bit we were hanging out in was more sort of the port area, whereas this is closer to being a proper town centre, lots of coffee shops, but most importantly, some very, very big houses. There's clearly quite a lot of money here. We know that there are fish processing plants down on the dock. Of course, there's also coal as well, which they're supplying to China. This is a slightly more salubrious restaurant, I suppose. And it's got great views. We can look back out onto our anchorage and then overlooking sort of east, I suppose. We can see across the flatlands and we can see churches, mosques and Buddhist temples as well. So a real mix of people here. So we've just had our lovely lunch up at Uphill Cafe restaurant, and we've now come down to Agao Beach. Now this is the beach on the east side. This is the tourist spot, and Liz was saying that she was talking to a local lady who said that before pandemic this was a very, very busy place. We've now got a lot of dilapidated looking buildings here because of course they're just not getting the tourism in, although she did say it's starting to pick up again with local tourism, so Indonesians are at least coming here. We're surrounded by, I think this is seaweed, drying seaweed, and this stretches all the way down the just off the beach, which is just behind me here. And on the other side of the road are lots of what look like little homestays. This could be a beautiful little spot to spend a long weekend on holiday here with the kids perhaps. Here's a couple of fishermen now. I suspect they're actually seaweed fishermen. And so as the men go out to get the seaweed, all along the beach here you've got these covered tarpaulins set up where you've got all the women of this village are sorting through the seaweed. I was able to check that this is to eat, but I'm not entirely sure how it's processed. Very industrious here, they're all at it. There's quite a few of these set up all the way down the beach, sorting through the seaweed, what looks like tying it into small bunches. And this is perhaps the nets that we saw previously when we were anchored back up the coast. Remember when we went through all those little nets and we had to find our way through them in the shallow waters. And one of the things that you notice is the smell. It's not as bad as you'd think actually. I would say it's a mixture of an organic earthy taste mixed with a briny smell. There's a mixture of the two. It doesn't smell too bad at all. No, it's not fishy, not fishy.
We're always going on about all the plastic bottles and rubbish we see in the water, and actually what's really good here is to see that they're being used. They're using all those plastic bottles that fly all over the ocean, they're using them here as floats for their nets. So this is repurposing in the real world.
So this bridge, I was going to bring the car over this bridge, and then I thought better of it. You can see the locals are attempting to, but what I wanted to show you was how these flex as each car goes over, and it's actually starting to give way as well. So there's a certain angle at which you take this bridge. It's not for me, but this truck full of kalapa, coconuts, is going to try. Well, we've had a great day, but we're about to return the car. The last thing we have to do is to pick up the laundry, and I just had to film this because picking up the laundry is only part of the process.
Hi.
This is the rest of the process.
Hi. Hi. This is from Indonesia.
Use SD laundry if you come here.
Okay.
They're very quick, they're very good. And they never shut up.
They film us giving the thumbs up and saying, come to ST Laundry and so on. There we go, here's another stranger, random person.